week is? It's the third week of Missions Month. Every week you guys are like, it's Missions Month? Like you're not sure. It's the third week of Missions Month. And like Tim said, this week is going to be all about the Macabres. Who here has been at church, or we had a missions night like forever ago, when the Macabres have been here, when Brian Macabre has been here? Show of hands. Who's been here when he's preached? Oh my gosh, there's not many of you. Okay, so this is going to be really fun because I get to tell you about Brian Macabre. Brian and Jackie Macabre. So, Brian and Jackie Macabre are missionaries to Paraguay. Originally, Brian and Jackie and their family went to church plant. And when they got there, so I talked to Brian this past week, and I asked him, I was like, just tell me exactly what you want me to tell other people, because I know you, like I know what you're doing, but I want to say it right. And he was like, okay, well, we got to Paraguay, and we were a little disappointed because we thought it was going to be this wide open mission field, and we were going to be like one of the only ones there, and then we got there, and there were a lot of churches. And we were like, well, I mean, we still feel called here, so what are we going to do? And they did church plant. But eventually, they felt like God was leading them to do something different. Unfortunately, this meant that a lot of churches stopped giving to them and their ministry, which is really stinky because what they're doing is amazing. Instead of planting churches, what they are focusing on now is bringing foster care to an entire nation. Amen. So the nation of Paraguay didn't have any kind of anything when it came to adopting, fostering, anything for the kids of the nation. And I'm going to refer to my notes because he told me that he was going to be watching, and I want to get this right. All right, so eventually, they felt God leading them to focus on the widows and the orphans based on James 1:27. And who can tell me what James 1:27 says? Take care of the orphans and the widows. Thank you, Ski. So, and Brian told me that he believes that the modern definition of a widow encompasses the 15-year-old mother. And I was like, oof, dang, that got me. Okay. So they began the journey of introducing foster care to Paraguay. And this was through the organization Little Neighbors. So we support the Macabres, and I believe we also now support Little Neighbors as its own mission, which is amazing. And this is they based Little Neighbors on the Bible verse, Psalms 68:6, which says that God sets the lonely in families. And the entire point of what they're doing is trying to take children who cannot stay with their parents and place them in family-based care. So they have 3 branches of Little Neighbors. The first is their Big Brother, Big Sister program, which is huge. A lot of the churches love embracing this program because it allows them to become involved and get to know kids, to get involved in their lives without the huge responsibility of fostering or adopting. So he liked to call this the gateway drug of fostering, is that you allow people to come in, love on these kids, realize that they're more than just a name. They're a face, they're a personality, they're a person. And a lot of these families fall in love with these kids through this program. So the second branch of this is their foster care. And this is the heart and soul of what they do. And they're connecting children to safe and loving families. That's that's the really big goal of what they're doing. The third is adoption. And they have 3 families ready to adopt right now, which is pretty big. Sometimes not all the families are able to adopt their foster kids, but that's okay because what they're really looking for is to foster so that potentially they can go back to their families if that is safe. So how they work is they have a psychologist and a social worker, and they work with every single family. They have support before, during, and after adoption and fostering for those, especially for those who adoption doesn't work out. They still need that support. So their core value is to visit families every 2 weeks. They don't want to grow so quickly that their quality suffers. So they really are centered on making sure that these families are supported. Not just the children that are coming in, but making sure that the families have the support that they need in order to do what they want to do. So they would like to see going from an orphanage-based care to family-based, because it's scientifically proven that children do better in family-based care rather than an orphanage setting. And that's exactly what they want to do. So the government of Paraguay, they actually work with the government of Paraguay, and the government of Paraguay wants them to grow. Brian told me that the government is jealous of what they're doing, that they don't have the resources that Brian and Jackie have through Little Neighbors, the psychologist and the social workers. They want them to grow because they want to see, and Brian and Jackie want to see their model through Little Neighbors be the model for all of Latin America, which is pretty crazy. It's an amazing goal. So the goal for this year was to serve 30 kids. And that means through fostering, adopting, anything like that. And Brian told me that as of yesterday, they met that goal. And at the end of June, they had served 26 kids. And yesterday, they were able to serve 7 more, which means 33 kids as of the middle of September. All right, that's all I have for notes. But I wanted you guys to know that this is who the Macabres are. They care about the children of this nation so much that they are introducing a whole system of care. And the government is cheering them on. I can't get over that the government of Paraguay wants them there. They want them to grow, so that way the country itself has a way to take care of these children. And I don't know about you. But ever since I had a baby, this kind of stuff really, dang it. What the Macabres are doing is absolutely amazing, because if Nick and I died, and anyone else who we wanted to take care of Nova wasn't able to know that if I was in Paraguay, that the Macabres were doing what they were doing, and that my baby had the ability to go into a family that was safe and loved her, that is worth supporting. So, sorry. But I just really love what the Macabres are doing, because I think it's worthwhile. They're serving an entire generation of children and trying to make sure that they're taken care of in a way that most often isn't done, especially in countries like ours. And I want you guys to love this couple, love this ministry as much as I do, because we support some amazing missionaries. We really do. From the Snaveleys, who are trying to educate, to Tyler and Sarah, who are willing to take on a nation that is just steeped in idol worship, literal idol worship, to the Macabres, who have poured their lives into taking care of the orphans of an entire nation. We support amazing missionaries. So that's what I have for this week. Sorry, I got emotional. But kids, man, whew. But yeah, so if you guys have any more questions about the Macabres, I have more information. If you want to get in touch with them, he's on Facebook, and I think that he would be more than willing to answer any questions that you have. And that's all I have, all right? So I'll see you next week for the Hunters, who are in South Africa, and I hope you guys